In the last section, we generated a new project. I'm now going to change into that new project directory, and then I'll start up my React server inside there with npm start. All right, so there we go. We've now got a fresh React application up and running. I'm now going to also make sure that I open up my code editor on that new project directory. So I'm going to find that components folder, components project directory we just put together, and I'm going to open that thing up like so. Then finally, inside my src directory, I'm going to find all the automatically generated files inside of here, and I'm going to delete all of them so we can start from scratch. All right, so remember, the first take that we're going to do on this project, we're going to put together a single component, and we're going to write out all of the different JSX we need inside there to make these 3 different comments, all in one go. So I'm going to flip back over to my code editor, and inside my src directory, I'm going to create a new file called index.js, like so. Then at the top of this file, we'll put in a little bit of familiar code. So I'll say import React from React. I'll do import React DOM from React-DOM. I'll then make a new app component. And inside there for right now, I'll return a simple div that says, hi there. And then finally at the bottom of the file, I'll do React DOM.render. I'll say I want to render an instance of my app component, and I want to render it into document.querySelector. And I'm going to find that same div with an ID of root, like so. All right, so the code that you see right here is what we just wrote into our last project. And writing all this stuff out is going to become second nature for you very quickly. So if it seems tedious to write this all out right now, don't sweat it. You're going to get so much practice writing this. All right, so I'm going to save this file, and then we should be able to flip back over to our browser and see the text hi there appear on the screen. Okay, so that looks good. So now we need to start replacing the simple div that we have inside of here with the list of comments instead. Now I'm going to be honest with you, this is not really a course about basic styling and CSS and stuff like that. We are going to talk at great length about how to integrate CSS in different forms into a React project, but we're not going to spend a tremendous amount of time writing out CSS from scratch. So what does that mean? Well, basically, when I looked at this list of blog comments right here, there is going to be a fair amount of CSS styling that we're going to have to do. Rather than writing out all these CSS from scratch, we're going to instead pull in a very simple and a very handy CSS library to essentially take care of all the styling for us. Like I said, we're going to eventually talk at great length about styling in a React project, but for right now, I just want to get some default styling put together. So let's talk about the styling we're going to use. I'm going to open up a new browser tab and navigate to semantic-ui.com. And I'll throw that into my code editor right here so you can see it very plainly. Okay, Semantic UI is an open source styling or CSS framework. You can click on this menu button on the top left-hand side and then scroll through all of these different elements that are provided for you. You can click on any of them and take a look at some of the default styling that you get if you make use of this Semantic UI library. Now, this library is a simple CSS file. By default, you don't have to install any JavaScript or any React-related stuff whatsoever. It's just a CSS file that's going to give us a little bit of default styling. On the left-hand side, if you scroll down to the Views section, you'll find that there's something inside of here called Comment. Let me zoom in a little bit so you can see that. Right there, there's Comment. So under the Views section, you can find Comment, and if you scroll down a little bit, you'll see something that looks very similar to more or less what we're trying to build, a list of comments, like so. So if we make use of Semantic UI, we can essentially get all this styling that we need for free without having to waste a lot of time on it. So with that in mind, let's install Semantic UI. Now, unfortunately, the getting started documentation here is not the clearest thing in the world. Their getting started documentation on Semantic UI docs, it tells you how to kind of put all this stuff together from scratch using build tools. Now, we could definitely go down this path, but there's definitely a much easier way for us to install this. If you open up a new browser tab, you can search for Semantic UI CDN. And I'll put this search term again inside my code editor just so you can see it very plainly. Semantic UI CDN. And then the first link that you'll see right here will probably be something like cdnjs.com. So if you click on that, it'll then take us to a page that lists all the different versions of that Semantic UI library. Nice and easy to use. We don't have to do any additional build step or anything like that. And you'll notice that there's many different versions of this library. So we're going to scroll down a little bit, and a little bit of ways down here, maybe a good amount of the ways down here towards the bottom. There we go, right here. We're looking for something called semantic.min.css. If you can't find it on this list, you can always hit Command F and do a quick search, semantic.min.css, like so. So we're going to copy that link right there. That's a link to a publicly hosted version of the semantic UI CSS file. So we can very easily use that inside of our project. So I'm going to click copy over here for the min.css file. And then I'll hook that thing up inside of the HTML file that is currently used for our project, which you'll recall is inside of that public directory. So inside of public, I'll find index.html. And then we're going to add this new CSS file into our head tag as we would any other CSS file. So after the meta tag right here, this looks like a reasonable place. I'll put in link, rel equals style sheet, and then href equals, and then I'll paste in the link that I just copied from that CDN page. And I'll make sure that on the right-hand side, I close off that tag like so. Okay, so that looks good. So I'm now going to save this file. And then if I go back over to my browser and find localhost 3000, we should see that the page has automatically refreshed. And you'll know that Semantic UI has been loaded up properly if you see that the text font right here has changed slightly. Mine definitely has, so I know that Semantic is installed correctly. Another way that you can make sure that it got installed would be to right-click anywhere on the page, open up your Chrome Inspect menu, then go to the Sources tab, or excuse me, not the Sources tab, but the Network tab. You can then click on this CSS option right here, refresh the page, and you'll see that Semantic Min CSS got loaded up successfully. Okay, so now that we've got this styling library for free, let's take a quick pause. We'll come back to the next section and start putting together this list of comments.